Mr. Giuliani, do you have any questions for this lady?
Sure.
Please proceed.
So, Ms. Alvey, tell us the room that you were in. What was it, a tabulation room?
It was a well, there was
What would
no
you call it?
machines. It was just a processing. There were workers at tables, and there was two different people from two different parties. And what they were doing was they were working as a team. They would pull the ballots out of the envelopes that were signed. They were putting the signature envelopes to the side, and those went back in the boxes. But then the ballots were laid out flat. If there was any questions about it, if it was ripped, or if it had a signature, or if there's any kind of default on it. Like, there was one gentleman who asked because it was done in marker, and the supervisor told him, oh, it's okay. There's no problems with using markers on this. And she said, just send it through. And so he just processed it regularly. Other than that, at the other end of the room, though, there were people who were not taking ballots out of envelopes. They were just counting ballots. There was a machine and a gentleman counting it with a machine, but then the people who were sitting at the tables, they actually had lists, and the lists needed to correspond with the ballots. So they would have a bundle of ballots, they would check the names. If it was all correct, they'd bundle it back up and put it back in. There was one woman who didn't have a ballot that matched her list, and she was walking through the aisles looking for like boxes, because each of the ballot boxes that came through from the signature areas were labeled, like B1, B2, B3. So she was looking for anyone who was tabulating or working with the boxes that had a B5 on it, because there was a misplaced ballot from that.
And what day are we talking about?
October 15th.
October 15th. So this is early voting.
Correct.
Was that the only day you were there?
That was the only day I was there.
And what were you there? What were you told you were there for?
I was told I was just there to observe, just watch, make sure that everything was on the up and up. When I first went in there, I did oversee a class for new poll workers that came in. Oh, okay. So that I would kind of have an idea of what they were doing and how the process was done. I noticed, the nice thing that I noticed was there were no pens in the room. So I didn't see anyone using a pen on any ballots at that point. It was all like Sharpie or markers, colored markers, like highlighters. And there were red pens, but the red pens were for the duplicate ballots that came in. They were supposed to be numbered and isolated by precinct on a piece of paper. And then those went to, like I said, the basket that then left the room, and I don't know where they went after that.
Where were the signatures being verified?
There was a room to the east of where we were at, behind closed doors, and that was a different section.
Did you get to observe that?
No, ma'am. Oh, no, sir.
How many Republican observers were there?
Well, the room was divided half and half of all different parties. So there were, at one table, there was a Republican and a Democrat. There was a Republican and an independent. I saw a Democrat and a Green Party. I mean, each table had two different people, two different political
These were tables
affiliations.
after the envelope had already been examined.
Then all the, well,
in a different room, right?
Right, that was done in a different
So
room.
who was observing that? Do you know?
I don't know. I did give a list to Thomas Lane of all the people who were supposed to be observing through the whole election time.
So you don't know if there was observation of the signature verification?
I do not.
And then after the signature verification, the ballots were brought into your room?
Correct. There was large trays of ballots that were brought in.
And in your room, they were being counted?
There were some being counted off to the right of the room, and then in the area, well, I was able to go into both because I was able to wander.
And what else were they doing with them other than counting?
Well, they were counting, and then they were removing them from the envelopes. They
were being removed from, they hadn't been removed from the envelopes already?
No.
Okay.
Most of them were cut open, though. So all they had to do was reach in and pull out the insides.
And then you complained about this.
Well, I complained not necessarily about this. I complained about the chain of command or the chain of custody that all of these faxes, because there were so many, and I questioned that because I wasn't sure. I mean, because I could be in Michigan and I could fax something to Pima County and it could be rerouted anywhere through any fax. And how do I know that it didn't come from Afghanistan?
Right.
So that was my concerns. So, and I was told by the chairman of the Republican Party that a lot of people come away with frustrations like this because there are no good answers unless you're there watching and you know exactly where the faxes are coming from.
How many ballots were processed during this? How long were you there? How many hours?
I was there for 4 hours.
How many ballots do you think were processed while you were there that you didn't get to observe?
I don't know, because the boxes that left the room and the duplicates that left, I don't know where they went. So I don't know how many were in each sleeve of the post office boxes. I do know that in one box, just from observing, there could be anywhere from 100 to 300 ballots in one box. So,
What do you think? In 4 hours, how many of those boxes did they go through?
well, when I left, they were on H. So,
Pardon me?
when I left, they were on the letter H. They were working on the H's. So that would have been a couple 100,000.
Thank you.